I feel like my whole life has prepared me for this position. I spent my earliest years in the Midwest in a small town where the majority of people were Norwegian, Lutheran, and here I am, an Arab American raised in the Baha'i faith tradition, very, very proud of my history, very proud of my roots, but also felt a very, very deep loneliness from not being seen and not being understood. And so I feel like my whole life has really been a journey of moving from striving to fit in to belonging to myself in the most authentic way I can, and then creating belonging for those around me and for the world that we live in. You know, there's also a number of circumstances in my life that taught me about the structural drivers of oppression, the impact that has on a person's sense of self, on the family, on the community, on the school system, and just our country at large. One of my earliest memories of this is seeing my brother for the first time, visiting him in prison when I was 15. And I remember, being so excited to see him and so naive about what I was about to walk into. And I walked in, and I think the thing I remember the most is the lighting. It was so gray and dark and sad. And, I walked up and I saw my brother, and he said, "Sissy, turn around and leave." He didn't want me to see him like that. It sparked in me a tenacity to ensure that those who are the most othered would never be othered by me, but would be fiercely loved by me. And that I would always strive to understand the why of the circumstances. And then community organizing for the past 16 years with the Faith in Action National Network, Pico, California, has taught me something I think I already knew, which is that the people closest to the pain are really best able to identify the solutions to fix the problems. And that no matter what area of work we're in, it's always about the people. And so I come to this work with a very deep love for people and a commitment to not lose that grounding. I think sometimes we can get in settings that feel disconnected from people. We get caught up in ideas or theories. And my commitment is to stay true to that which has prepared me for this position, which is a love and a knowing of people. I've always been pretty serious, pretty intense. I think anybody from my childhood would confirm that, and that's still the case. I also, as a child and a youth, ran with pretty red-hot anger. There was a lot of things I was angry about and had every right to be angry about. And it wasn't until I was in high school and a really incredible mentor said to me, "Ashlin, if you're this powerful working against things, imagine your power if you were actually working for something." And it was a really simple statement, but it hit me very deeply that moving from a place of resistance to imagination and what is the world that I imagine and I believe we should occupy, it allowed me to have a lot more curiosity about why the world is the way it is, about why people show up in certain ways. And it also created space in my heart for healing the things that I was angry about, and instead allow them to channel into hope. They say that anger is really disappointed hope. And so it allowed me to get my hope back. And so on my best days, I strive to show up centered and grounded and with a generative anger and disruption about the world that it is, that we live in, but more imagination about the world that it could be. If you really knew me, you'd know that my favorite spot to be is in a grove of redwood trees. It is the place that I feel most joyful and calm. It feels to me like sitting in a circle of elders. You would also know that I'm not good at sitting still for very long. So while I would enjoy being at the Redwoods, I would leave and want to go get my cup of coffee, do my artwork, be with my incredible family, and enjoy all the bounties of this incredible life, and probably read a good book. Yeah. The most important thing to know about me is that I'm a mother. And my boys, Caden and Davin, are 11 and 13. And they have taught me everything I know in my soul about belonging. What it is to discover your full authentic self because you feel the safety and the freedom and the affirmation from just really genuine love. My husband, Teodros, and I live in Sacramento with our 2 boys, and family is, it's really genuinely everything to me, and look forward to what all their teenage years are going to teach me about patience and resiliency. And I'm also an artist. Being creative is a really important outlet for me. And my faith is incredibly important to me. My faith is about my hope and belief that we can and will be something greater, and that there is purpose to the suffering. That's my faith. Yeah. You know, I've always been somebody who's really wanted to get to the root of the problem. It's why I studied international conflict resolution. It's why I did mediation. It's why I went into organizing. I've really been at a moment the last few years where I believe every fiber of my being that the most systemic issue we are facing in the world today is that of othering and belonging. That we're in a spiritual crisis as human beings who are designed for connection, but keep becoming more and more separate from each other, continued dehumanization. And to be at OBI, that's really on the cutting edge of understanding why we other, research about that, involving community organizing and people around the ground to test the research, to include the arts and the youth and academia, and really try to influence strategic narrative and make cultural change. I can't imagine a more powerful spot to be in than at OBI in this moment.